Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the BIZ Info Zone Show. My name is V. Lynn Hawkins, and I'm your host. And today we've got a great show. You know, I try to bring you interesting information, relevant, valid, and the BIZ Info Zone is the zone where you, the savvy social entrepreneur, can get information, knowledge, tools, tips, techniques, strategies that will help you to express your purpose, plan your next moves, and increase your profits. And today we've got a special guest, Margaret Vieirra, who is going to talk about generating wealth through private investing. And I know you probably think, well, I've heard of private investing. I kind of know what private investing is, but today you're really going to get the information that helps you to start your journey of understanding and potentially investing in this mechanism. So I know you're wondering what this is all about beyond that investing. How much? What do I do? Well, if you've ever wondered how you could earn income from an investment while you keep control of your money, this is where you're going to find out some info about it. And, you know that I would love to invest in something and get monthly payments in return for my investment, yet keep control of my invested funds as well. And, this is so innovative, yet it has been happening for a very long time. And there's some reasons why Wall Street and the banking institutions don't want you to know about it. So stay tuned for our show today with the wonderful Margaret Vieirra, real estate broker, speaker, trainer, and owner of Exit Realty Keystone. She's going to open some doors of understanding for us today about the way all of this works. So let me just say welcome, Margaret.
Well, thank you, Lynn, for having me on the show. I'm excited to share some things. So go ahead, let's get started.
All right. I love it. Well, let me just give our audience a little bit of background about you, and then we'll get started. Margaret and I have known each other for a few years now. She's in Silicon Valley in California, and she left a lucrative 15-year career with IBM to pursue her passion for real estate. Along with her approachable and easygoing style, her extensive background in project management and sales and in real estate investment have really provided her agents, the agents in her brokerage, with a proven track record of professionalism and accomplishments. She's got awards and recognitions that are as long as the length of my arm. She's politically active and is an advocate for property rights and land use issues. She goes the extra mile to help her agents and her clients achieve their goals. She's a strong negotiator and has an excellent reputation for getting the job done. She's been named Realtor of the Year for a couple of years in past, and her peers often recognize her for her contributions to the local Realtors Association and for what she does in the community. She's been licensed since the mid-70s, and she has been educating and helping others to find their way through the maze of real estate investing. And I could go on and on about her because she's a real savvy lady. But we're going to get into this now, and I'm going to start with asking you, Margaret, tell us about how you got on this journey of real estate as a passion, and then wanting to educate the woman entrepreneur to be a better investor.
Well, thank you, Lynn. As far as real estate as an investment, I mean, we started, both my husband and I, back in the early 70s. And of course, I'm aging myself, or dating myself. But I was 10 when we got married, so that was yeah. And so we started investing in small rental properties and working our way up through there. So we've developed land, built homes, rehabbed properties, rented in. So I was always into the investment piece. And then as my career in the corporate world started to be not so, start to hit the glass ceiling as a woman, things like that, I decided to branch out and just go off on my own, and in the early 90s get full-time into real estate brokering as an agent and then as a broker. So how I got into this, we're talking about private investments. It's really the portion that's private lending. So not so much of going out and buying a property, but actually loaning the money for someone else to buy the property or fix it up, rehab it, and reselling. And I was always very interested in this. I saw other people, lending money out, and I thought that would be a good thing to do. How do I put, those customers that need private money with the people that would like to get a good return on their money? And so I really got into it about 3 years ago, and thinking about it when we had the recent recession. It was really about, once money was locked down in the banking institutions, what we had left was more people having their own funds and yet not knowing how they could get involved and get a return for that money that was better than, a savings account or a CD, and feel more secure that their money was safe and that they could actually get a better return than just, we need to keep up with inflation, and then in addition look for the return. So having deposits in a bank doesn't even keep up with inflation.
And so tell us why it is that you are interested in bringing this message to women, and especially women entrepreneurs.
Well, generally, it's usually said that women are the most conservative when it comes to investing. And so they tend to go, put the money in the savings account or go to a brokerage and hand their money over and let somebody else invest it. And I think mainly I want to bring it to them because they're the ones that don't get the education, and probably don't hear of this and don't understand it. And I want that to be out there. I want them to know that they can get involved too, and do better than what they have and build some wealth for themselves. So.
And that's key. And you will often see me doing this, with the little cards. I stole this from Alex Mandossian, but it's really key. We're talking about generating wealth through private investing. And what you're telling us is that this investing is actually through lending, right?
Correct. Actually lending your money out like the bank does. I mean, they don't build large bricks and mortars because they don't make money. They build them because they make money. So, and where do they make it? They don't make it on the deposit. They make it on lending out the deposits. So.
Right. Well, so tell us, what is private lending?
Well,
I'm just curious.
Okay, so probably the best thing to do is start out with what private lending is not. And it is not your traditional stocks, bonds, CDs, certificates of deposit. So I think we're putting up a little slide so you can see exactly what private lending is not.
Can you see that?
Yeah. So so that's what it's not. So what is it? So it's actually investing in the sense of trustees, and some people, not everyone, has heard of trustees. And when you lend money, or a bank lends money, it creates a deed of trust that's secured on real estate. And we're talking about real estate trustees. So it's really just lending as a mortgage and taking your private money, which is a private individual, and making a loan to another individual with real estate as collateral. So basically putting you on the note in deed of trust and you becoming the bank rather than the bank.
That's really key when you're talking about investing and from the lending standpoint. And I love what you said about you being the bank. Most of us don't think in terms of us having the opportunity to be the bank. And we really should start thinking that. For those women who are coming out of the corporate environment and starting their own businesses, who have a little nest egg, who want to invest, who've heard that investing is a great way to get a higher return on what it is that you've invested. Tell us a little bit about what that actually entails. Being the bank. What does that mean? What are the benefits?
Well, the benefits are that you can, you can take a small amount of money. You don't have to have large amounts, but you can take small amounts and you can loan it to people. Excuse me, and then you secure that with tangible property like real estate. I mean, specifically, real estate is what I deal with, and in that sense, you have security. You have some collateral, which is not what you get, when you buy a stock in a business. Business can go up and down, and it's, um, you know, as we all know as entrepreneurs. But when you invest and loan money against real estate, there's collateral there. And so as long as we place that money where there's enough equity to secure your position, then you can get a great return. Now, the great thing about private lending is that you don't have the headaches of actually owning the property and being a landlord or dealing with contractors or taxes or insurance. You're the bank. The bank never has any problem. They don't get involved in that. So it's a headache-free. Just have to, we watch to make sure that things are going well in the project, whatever it is, and make sure you get your payments and there's enough equity in there to cover everything. So that's what it is. So the benefits are no headaches, no tenants, no toilets to fix, and you're still getting your return. So it's a great way to go.
It really is a great way to do this. And having had a career in commercial real estate, I look at private lending as a great means of additional income. And because of that additional income, you have created yet another means of benefit for you and your family, another stream of income. And we're talking about these kinds of investments. What's the amounts? People are thinking when you're doing something like that, do I have to invest $500,000? Do I have to invest, 100,000, $1 million? What does that look like?
Well, that's the beauty of private lending and putting, what we do is we'll invest in projects across the country nationwide, and so you have different metropolitan areas, different price ranges. I mean, I'm here in Silicon Valley, Northern California, and this is a very high-priced area. So we may find projects here, or we may find projects across the country that are in smaller amounts we can lend on. So, and we have feet on the ground and affiliates that watch these things for us. So we have our hands, in the pot. But anywhere from around here, we would be looking at a $50,000 minimum if you're talking about Silicon Valley. If you're talking across the country, it could be $5,000, $10,000, and it may not be enough for one particular, for a project. So we might put a couple of investors together and put that money together. And so there's paperwork involved in that, and how to secure that, so that everybody has their piece secure. So that's where I'm at. Where I get involved is really making sure that everything is done correctly and that the investment is good, and the paperwork as well. So anywhere, like I say, what you have to invest, then we find a project that makes sense for, and anywhere from 5,000 on up. It can be, we have some that are a couple of 100,000 that will come in, but anybody can get involved. It's just, and you just get started, because once you start and you understand it, and you can start small and understand it, then as you earn that income, you'll feel more comfortable, and you can take your principal back and your earnings and reinvest.
And that is called strategy. I'm really, really big on strategy from the standpoint of especially building wealth through business. And if someone were looking at this, what's the time frame involved? What's a typical deal's time frame?
Anywhere from 6 months to 3 years. We don't go past 3 years, but 6 months, and the typical, really the average is 9 to 12. So, you would lend the money for a period of time, and it could be for someone wanting to pick up a good deal. Especially in the last couple of years, we've had so many foreclosures, so you'd have good deals that a contractor, rehabber would pick up, and they need financing. They need some money to fix, rehab it, and then turn around and resell it. So typically it would take, the average is about 9 months to 12 months.
And what are some of the types of residential real estate that you do lending on? Are they rehab? Are they second mortgages, third mortgages? What kind of deals do you typically do?
Yeah, typically, if it's a low-priced project, then we can do just a first deed of trust and put all the money in one loan up front. If it's a really large amount, then we can do some institutional financing up front, and then private lending as a second, still keeping that equity intact, being sure we don't overextend. So the types of the projects would be residential is what we stick with. Commercial is still a little skittish as far as I'm concerned, so I'm a little more reluctant to go that route right now, other than multifamily commercial. That is a big demand, and that's kind of a strategy that we're headed towards. We've been doing single families, residential, which means 1 to 4 units, and now strategy as we're growing towards doing multifamily in different parts of the country and rehabbing them, getting them fully occupied, and then turning around and reselling them. And those are the projects that could take up to 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking at this and thinking this is actually a great way to invest, but I think that some of our audience might wonder, how do I do this kind of investment? And you say I can hold on to the money that I've invested. How does that work?
Oh, no, after the exit strategy, whether we've resold the property or whatever, and you get your principal back, plus, you've already had your interest coming in. And there's different ways to do it. You can defer the interest, get paid all in one lump sum, and it comes back, or you can take the cash flow. So it's different projects, and it depends on the actual project and the investor. And what I try to do is certainly get to their goals, help the investor, as well as make sure everybody wins in the deal.
So talk to me a little bit about, we kind of looked at the risk factors involved, or some of them. That, with real estate, the risk is the same. I think, you're investing in a piece of real estate, and you just want to make sure that, like you said, your equity position is good when you're investing. But what's the flip side? As a private lender, what are my tax obligations? I have to pay taxes on the income that I get from the investment?
Yes. If you're lending your just general funds, whatever, it's interest income. So whatever you're getting in, you report it as interest income at the end of the year. Now, there are vehicles, definitely, where you can earn that income tax-free and have that grow in your retirement account if you set up your own IRA, and you have these tax-free where you invest through the IRA, and the money comes back to the IRA. Then you are able to keep that money tax-free until your retirement. So, that's a great benefit too. And I don't know, that certainly is another show for sure, because that's a big topic. But there's a way to do it tax-free and grow a little nest egg for your future. So, definitely something that we should share with your audience.
So, I would love that. As a matter of fact, I would love it if we could set up something to bring you back on the show. Real estate investing is something that you mentioned. A lot of women just aren't exposed to. Mm-hmm. And because of that, this is a whole arena of opportunity for us that we just don't even attempt to get into. And it's, of course, a much more lucrative way of earning income or another stream of income than a lot of other things that we may think about doing. For instance, and help me, the bank, you get no interest on a savings account, or 0.1%. CDs are what? All practically no interest. What are some of the other vehicles that we've typically used that are definitely not as lucrative as this private lending side of income earning?
Yeah, and that's, most of what people are familiar with the traditional ways, the stocks, the bonds, the CDs, the, municipal bonds. But with private lending, and so I'd like to share what we're talking about, you can earn anywhere from 7 to 10% interest on your money in private lending. And that is so different than what you can do out there in any other vehicle. Some stocks do well, but you have your ups and downs, and you have no control because you've really handed it over to someone. So this way, at least in private lending, you know exactly where your money is. You can keep up with what's going on in the project, and earn those kind of returns. So that's a big difference.
It is, and I love that. When I got into real estate 30 some odd years ago, I looked at it, and I actually did some research, and I said, what career can I get into that isn't going to change that much, and the changes that will occur I can adapt to because it's still a great income earning opportunity for me, whether it's on the corporate side or on the other side as far as ownership and investing. And real estate was it. People will always need a place to live. People will always need a place to shop, to go to school, to, visit, being hotels and restaurants for eating. Real estate is something that, as far as investing is going to be viable, and people know that most people that have made millions of dollars have done it in real estate. And my thing about bringing you to our audience and bringing this information to our audience is that, like you, I share in the sentiment of women learning this information, learning how to invest, what to invest in to get the highest returns. And right now, I don't know of any place else that you can get 7 to 10% on your investment. That's right. To test the waters by being able to invest as little as $5,000, $10,000. And, I love your strategy about doing that kind of investing to get your feet wet, to get your knowledge base, and then being able to up the ante. And you also will be upping the returns. And, again, this is something that has been frightening to a lot of women. And what can we do to help break down those mythical beliefs?
Well, knowledge, education, information and finding people you can trust. And I think that's the biggest thing is, like I said earlier, I believe that women in general are, they're always trying to protect. That's their, I mean, they're bred to protect, whether it's the family, the household, the money. And so they're very good. They're very thrifty, and usually, unless they're big shoppers. But and so they want to protect, and they're fearful because they don't have the knowledge, and I think that they're not as aggressive to go out and seek that knowledge to put it into something that isn't generally talked about. And why isn't it talked about? I mean, nobody on Wall Street is going to tell you can make good money on private lending, right? Any financial institution is not going to tell you can make good money on private lending. And why is that? Well, because when you do private lending, you become the bank, and you take them out of the equation. And that's not in their best interest. So amazingly enough, they've all made lots of money for a very long time. And I believe it's time for us women, to get in there and do it big. And let's us be the ones to make the money instead. So you won't hear it from them. If you go to your, you've got some money in a mutual fund, and you go to your fund manager and say, well, I want to pull some out, and I'm going to do some private lending. They're going to try to discourage you and tell you all the risks, and this is terrible. Well, they're going to do that because you've just taken their spoon away and their fork, and they don't want that. So they're going to, tell you that it's too risky, et cetera, et cetera. And so that always, and they're going to try to do the scare tactic to scare you away from it. So, like I said, give it a try. Try a little bit at a time, and then you'll understand. And let me tell you, you're going to get hooked if you go in that direction.
So, looking at this slide, I'm really amazed that, well, I'm not amazed. All of the financial institutions and Wall Street don't want you to know this because they don't want you to make money off of it. It's just, like you said, takes away from them, and it brings to us the wealth that we otherwise would be struggling to make. We would be working very hard to make. And I was talking about the mindset, and there are some people that absolutely love doing the work of construction and rehab, and doing the work of finding tenants for properties. And you're saying that in this kind of a vehicle, this is the perfect opportunity for you to help as an investor others who have the talents and interests to do what supports you in what you want to invest in. That's called the chain of life. That's the circle of life. I love that. And that's what real estate and real estate investing can do for us. Women entrepreneurs who are looking to build wealth. It's like, I've done so well in my business even. Now, how do I hang on to the money that I've earned? What can I invest it in order to see the returns and grow it versus just holding it?
Right.
Because again, that money flowing is different than money being held.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and also in this, in this arena, you end up, we like to be a little bit more personal. I mean, buying a piece of paper and wondering if it, grows or not is different. But when you're talking about some real property, a real project, real people doing the work, it's just, you're more connected. And I know I really like that because you're right, you're helping them, and they're happy to help, in return, pay you that return, and you get connected to some of these people that do the work, and you continue to have a relationship with them on other projects, and that's really very rewarding in that sense. So it's not just about making the money, but it's, like you say, collaborating and actually having a relationship with the people on the other end. So
you actually gave us a list of some of the reasons why people are looking for private money. And if you think about it in terms of why people want to lend and do private lending, go through this list with us.
right, why people would even take seek a private loan or look for that. Well, first of all, I mean, when usually those that do the rehabbing are usually self-employed people often. They're contractors, uh, they can be tradespeople, it can be just some other, investors, but they have a tougher time getting through the institutions, the conventional bank. And and they also, if they're finding a really good deal, they've got to act on it quickly, because with the competition to get good deals out there, and especially something that has the potential to become much more, I'm talking about the property itself, they need to act quickly. And so the bank takes too freaking long, excuse the expression, but so they need immediate access to cash. And so by having people ready to lend, we can put the deal together fast. And then also, we're looking at the buyer's qualification as a rehabber or as a property owner, their experiences, and then we're looking at the value of the property. We're not looking at the borrower themselves, because really your position, your security is the property. It's not the borrower. And the timeliness, like I say, conventional lenders, they don't want to do a 6-month, a 9-month, or even a 12. So, this way we can give them fast, quick money, quick turnaround, and then also they need improvement costs sometimes, usually, and so that's what we're doing too, is funding their rehabs. We manage that, we control it. We don't give them all the cash, but we have it in an account, and as work is done, it's like a construction loan. We actually release, certain phases of the job and of the money, and that way we certainly want to protect the funds for our clients. So, and then the last thing is that banks traditionally limit the number of loans that any investor, rehab, or contractor can have out. So outstanding. A private money is private money. It's not out there in public so that anybody can find out, well, how many loans do you have? And, so, it's keeping it, like I said, it's private. And private is good as far as I'm concerned.
So, and I love that. That brings me to my next question, which is, how do private lenders really make money from this? What does it cost them anything to invest?
No, actually, there are no fees for there's no investor fees ever. Like like a brokerage account takes a percentage or something. No, there are no investor fees here. So that's the borrower pays everything, so you don't have to.
That's beautiful. I like being able to invest and it doesn't cost me, and I can really look at high yield returns. And speaking of which, saying that just made me think too, I would love for us to, in one of our sessions, really talk about the language of investing.
Okay.
High yield returns, return on investment, especially for women who, there's so many women in business who know their craft, who are actually excel in their craft. But when you bring them something like business, or in this case, real estate coupled with business, the lending side is a business aspect. There's a lot of terminology and things that I would love for us to help educate these women regarding as well.
That would be great, yeah, and actually how to even, even if they're not doing private lending, but they're looking at an investment or somebody approaches them, how do they evaluate that that's a good investment or not? So, yeah, I'd be happy to work with that, sure.
Great, great. Well, I'm trying to keep track of our time, and I want to share this one other slide because I'd really like for you to speak to it. We've kind of touched on it, but I think this is a really great summary, and I want you to go through that for our audience. So I'm going to bring it up real quick here, and well, that's not what I wanted to do. So, how about I do this? I'm going to let our audience know that these wonderful slides that you've prepared for us is something that they will have access to. And at the end of the show, and if they listen to the recording, there's going to be a way for them to access and download these slides for themselves. It's a great tool that Margaret has prepared for us to get us in the frame of knowing what private lending is, what an innovative way of investing is that we can get high yield returns, and it's something that is, again, fueling the circle of life.
Yes, everyone needs a place to live, and like you said, and so, yep. Also, the slides that I have that I can share are much more robust. There's a lot more slides than what we showed today, so there's more information. And also we have a newsletter. So if they'd like to log into our website and sign up for the newsletter, we'll keep them in touch.
And all of this information would be on our screen right now if it worked right. But since it wants to do something else that I don't understand.
Ah, there we go.
Okay, great, great. All right, let me, there you go. So if you are somebody that would like to take advantage of knowing more about this, this is Margaret's contact information. Jot it down. Come back to this video. Scroll to the end. You'll see this information. We will also put it on the event page. But Margaret, I understand that you are a part of a project that is really going to have worldwide impact and implication. Tell us about the project and why you wanted to get involved in it.
Well, the project is called the Permission Movement. It's geared towards women entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs, or just women in general. It's what I liked about this project is that it's really trying to lend a hand or put out a hand and pull women up. You know, it's wonderful to have goals and to strive, but if we don't bring somebody with us, then it's we're really here in this earth to help each other. And so I believe on our way up, we need to bring people with us. And I think women have been lacking in that, having mentors and information and knowledge on how to give themselves permission to do the things that maybe aren't traditional, or they're a little more afraid. They're not as assertive or as aggressive. And I mean, I've been through that my whole life and navigated around my life trying to get around, the feeling that I always needed to kind of stay in the background. So I believe it's something that I'll be able to contribute to, and hopefully inspire and bring someone along with me and help them up. And I think that's what we're all here for.
That's beautiful. I totally agree. It goes back to our whole circle of life. When you help someone else, you see that they're able to help someone else, and it just goes on. It's the whole, even the whole pay it forward mindset brings about that giving yourself permission to think of others as you are doing for yourself. And I'm so happy that you're a part of the project. And really, for one additional reason for me asking you to be involved in it is that there are a lot of women, young women in business, and young women who are wherever they are on their life's journey that just don't see real estate as a viable means of income for themselves unless they're a sales agent.
Hmm.
Sell a house,
Yeah,
sell a
that's
house,
true.
and sell another house. Well, yes, that's one thing, but there are various
Hmm.
facets to real estate. And that's what I love about this. We're going to be spending some time helping women to understand the investment side of real estate. And I'm just so grateful for you bringing that to our audience today.
Well, thank you so much, Lynn. I appreciate your asking me, and I'm looking forward to being a part of all that. So, and like I said, helping because life is about relationships, and who's the best people to be in a relationship? If women are good at relationships, and so we just want to expand that for them and help them up. And good. I hope we all grow together.
Yes, grow together, make some investments together, make some money, help
Yeah.
more, because it truly is the philosophy of when you have more money, you can do more and you can help more people. And I think that women typically have been it takes a village to raise a child. However, the village has mostly been contained of women and children, so it's been the women's work to help raise people. So the concept of women and money is really something that's new. That's not been in the forefront of what women see themselves doing or playing in or being involved in,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to the real estate side.
Mhm.
A lot of the coaching that's being done now is because of issues with women and money. And so one of the things that I'm happy to be working with you to do in educating women is to help women understand that while there may be issues now or have been in the past, they are things that can be overcome and move into a bigger, brighter, better place. And again, with learning the investment aspects of real estate investing and earning wealth, gaining wealth, and sharing wealth in that
Mhm.
regard is really cool for women to do.
That's absolutely great. Thank you. I love that you're passionate about it. I am too.
Oh, I am. Well, I'm looking at the time and I want to make sure that I ask my final question, and that is if there was one thing that you could say and leave with our audience today that will inspire them to be more, do more, have more in this area of real estate investing by being the bank,
Hmm. Hmm.
what
Well,
would that be?
that women out there, please give yourself the permission to move forward in this direction. Give yourself permission to get knowledgeable. Give yourself permission to open your mind to other opportunities. And I think that's the biggest thing I can say is always be open to the opportunities and at least listen and learn and test and go forward. So that that's my message. Try it.
I love it. I love it. And I would only add to that, put Margaret on your list of resources
There we
so
go.
that when something comes up and you've got a question, you know who to reach out to.
Yeah,
And
thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Absolutely, thank you.
fabulous. Well, you have been at or in the Biz Info Zone. This has been the Biz Info Zone show. My name is V. Lynn Hawkins. I'm a business mentor and a business wealth coach. And I am so, so happy to have had this time to share with our guest today, Margaret Vieirra, broker extraordinaire and owner of Exit Realty Keystone in Silicon Valley, California. Thank you for being on the show today, Margaret. It's
Thank
truly been a
you.
pleasure.
Thank you, Lynn. It's been my pleasure too. Thank you all. Bye bye.
All right, join us next week and keep an eye out for any special broadcasts that we may have. This is the zone where you, as the savvy social entrepreneur, get to express your purpose, plan your next moves, and increase your profits. Thanks for joining us today on the BIZ Info Zone Show, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.